The New Orleans Saints defense cranked it up, so did Mother Nature here on day 2 of training camp. Hi again, everybody. Welcome into the Saints training camp report with John DeShazier. I'm Sean Kelley. Day 2 in the books here at the Oyster Sports Performance Center. Yes, warmer here on day 2 than what we saw on day 1.
A lot toastier. Really important to hydrate for the players. I'm sure they were welcome to get off the field a little bit earlier. Practice scheduled to go to 11:50. Probably wound up about 11 o'clock or so. I'm sure they were glad to get off the field.
Yeah, just about 20 minutes longer on the practice field today than what we saw on day 1. It looked different on the practice field today too. Our lead story obviously is the absence of head coach Sean Payton and members of his staff. They were in Minnesota attending funeral services for Vikings assistant coach Tony Sparano, who tragically passed away earlier this week.
Yeah, that's Coach Sean Payton, tight ends coach Dan Campbell, offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, defensive coordinator Dennis Allen, linebackers coach Mike Nolan, and assistant GM Jeff Ireland all went to pay their respects.
And so today here at Saints practice, assistant coach Aaron Glenn was at the helm.
I'll tell you what, defensively, those guys are flying around. All right, made a lot of plays. Actually, they told us that they get two turnovers that the coaches have to run, and we went out there and re-ran. So I told them I'll be willing to run every day if we continue to play like that. So I thought it was outstanding. Offensively, we had too many balls that was probably knocked down today from our quarterback, so I'm sure we'll get that fixed.
And yes, it was a good day for the Saints defense. It especially showed, John, in those team periods.
Yeah, those guys are flying around. And one, there's a lot of competition out there. But two, there's an upgrade in talent. You see a lot of guys who are capable of getting to the football, and they're showing it.
Yeah, the offense did have some highlights today. Boy, is it great to have Benjamin Watson back here with the Saints. A great pass-catching tight end who can do it in tight windows and a lot of traffic. We saw that here on his second day of practice.
Yeah, one of those situations where he wasn't necessarily open on this pattern, but Drew Brees trusts him, and he will, quote-unquote, throw you open. He'll give you a chance to go get the ball.
Yeah, another highlight for the offense today, wide receiver Michael Thomas. And boy, the fun is back as Michael Thomas and Marshawn Lattimore renewed their practice rivalry here today. Michael Thomas gets this one. His big play, John, I think went for 50 yards on a nice pass from Drew Brees.
Yeah, both of those guys made the Pro Bowl, and there's a reason both of them made the Pro Bowl. Former teammates from Ohio State, extremely competitive guys.
Yep, the rivalry certainly is a spark for us in watching practice, but it's also fun for the two individuals involved.
They're great. I appreciate them a lot. He comes out every day. We compete. We get each other better. We talk to each other, and then we know how to, once we get in the locker room and once we're off the field, we know how to be brothers, and then out here help each other get better.
Okay, let's turn our attention to the quarterback position. Notable today, another absence from backup quarterback Tom Savage, John.
Yeah, he's in a battle for that position, and it doesn't help missing work. Certainly, it's early in camp, so if you have to miss, this would be the time to miss, and yet it allows some precious reps for the guys he's competing with.
Yeah, J.T. Barrett's on that list. So is Taysom Hill. Hill also lining up on a lot of special teams periods today. That red jersey he wears now as a backup quarterback really stands out when he's running down the field on a kickoff team.
Not running down the field, flying down the field. We saw that during games last year. He's a guy who can stick in the NFL. If he doesn't make it as a quarterback, I'm certain he can make it on special teams.
Yeah, Taysom Hill's #1 goal in this camp is he'd like to become that #2 quarterback, the direct backup to Saints leader Drew Brees. He'll talk today about his first couple of days in this role or this chase in going after that position.
Yeah, it's good. I think, look, every time I step on the field, I'm making sure that I know my responsibility and that I can execute inside that responsibility. So it's still a learning curve. I think the learning curve is still high. I obviously feel a lot better right now than I did, last season and then where I was at in OTAs. But it's still a learning process. I'm constantly playing catch up to where Drew and Coach Payton are. But I love the challenge and I love working with those guys.
Time now to turn our attention to that first weekend of training camp. And John, I'm excited. The pads go on for Saturday and Sunday, and the fans will be here at the Oyster Sports Performance Center.
Generally, when the pads come on, the competition rises a little bit more because guys start to get a little bit more physical. Even if it's non-tackle, they still get a little bit more physical and a lot more competitive.
Important couple days for those guys up front, defensively and offensively.
This is the first time you really get a chance to assess the offensive and defensive lines. Really, they've been kind of shadow boxing now, but to be able to get their hands on one another with some pads, and they will be a lot more physical than other position groups.
If you're lucky enough to have a ticket for practice on Saturday or Sunday morning, know that FanFest opens on Tom Benson Way at 7:30 a.m. In some ways, we're excited and pleased to say that all the open practices here at the Oshner Sports Performance Center are sold out. We're sad in saying that it could leave a few of you out. There is one other opportunity if you want to see the Saints practice here in the preseason. That would be on Sunday, August the 5th, for an open practice at Ullman Stadium on the Tulane University campus. We'll look forward to a big crowd there. No tickets necessary for that football practice. We've got a big weekend ahead of us, and we'll have it all for you here on the Saints Training Camp Report. Looking forward to it. For John DeShazier, I'm Sean Kelley. We'll see you with the pads on this weekend.